Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Hello, welcome to Musical Talk, the UK. As Sloss says in the jingle, I thought it was UK's independent musical theatre podcast, but never mind.
I was just about to question you as to why it isn't UK's.
I don't know, we'll get Sloss to re-record it. Hello, welcome to Musical Talk. My name is Nick, and this is Hannah.
Hi.
Hello. We're both poorly, so you'll forgive the coughing that I think we were doing in last episode we recorded. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Just presume we're poorly all the time because Hannah works with children.
Hey.
Today we're going to be talking about a show that we teased.
Did we? It was a while ago since we last did this.
Yeah, we said that you knew the film.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Of Little Shop of Horrors, but you've never seen the show.
Very true. But that has now changed.
That has now changed. And we went to the Theatre Royal Windsor to see the UK tour of Little Shop of Horrors. And it's making its way around the country, directed by Lottie Wakeham. And it was this show could be done by the worst actors and singers in the world and it would still work because it's a brilliant piece of theatre. What were your thoughts, Hannah?
I loved it. The end, goodbye. No.
Yes, bye-bye, thank you.
Our shortest episode yet. No, I absolutely loved it. Like Nick had said, I'd only seen the film and I'd only seen it the once. So I didn't really know the scale of the production. Like, obviously we knew it was a touring production, so it wasn't going to be anything over the top.
The thing is with all productions of Little Shop is it's never meant to be over the top.
And it gave me original Rocky Horror vibes, like a little show that is by a smaller cast, not grand, and it still works.
Yeah.
And it delivered. It really did. I loved how it was all based around the one set. I loved the multi-rolling of the different actors.
And the we have to mention this is an actor muso production.
Yes. Oh,
so we had
good.
The Greek chorus, the Crystal, Winnett and Chiffon coming out playing guitars and bass guitars, and one had the keyboard, and it was a real community effort, which I loved. And sometimes I find that actor musician shows get a bit distracting. We talked weeks ago about Forbidden Planet, which is a great example of one, but it does get a bit distracting when they, a member of a robot starts playing a trombone and things, but this it worked. This really worked.
It worked, and I think I forgot after a while that it just blended so well that you forget that the instruments aren't distracting, and it just blends with it so beautifully. I loved it, and I loved. Oh,
go on.
I was going to say I loved the puppetry.
Yeah.
But I won't distract from what you were about to move on to.
No, I was going to say which version of the piece you prefer, but tell us about the puppetry, because obviously this is a new show for you. So
it is. I loved it. I loved the detail of the puppets as well, and I loved how when Audrey 2 gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like coming into the second act, and you can just see how they've changed the set and they put the vines up and everything, and it's just. Oh, I loved it.
Would you have liked to have seen a more advanced, still small, but a more advanced version of the production with moving tentacles?
Yeah,
and
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But I appreciate as well that this level of a touring production, you're not going to get that. And I think for what they did achieve was incredible. I loved the puppetry. I love at the end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
I mean, I think it's well regarded that there are two different endings of this piece, and that's one of the things I do want to talk to you about is which ending you prefer.
Okay, we can get onto that if you want. I was just going to say that I loved that when Audrey is fed, how they did that.
Yeah,
like with the little gap in the pot, and then I just thought that was really cool. But it worked, and it was really effective.
And also, the chap playing the dentist has a lot more fun stuff to do in Act 2, doesn't he? He plays multiple roles.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great.
He was brilliant. I really liked him.
And all testament to Howard Ashman, it shows that he crafted that show, and every production I've seen of it since, it's always been the same, that it's that size cast, the person playing the dentist plays those other parts. It's not done by anyone else. And this leads us onto the discussion of which ending works for you. So in the film ending, Seymour doesn't end up feeding Audrey to Audrey 2.
Yeah.
Which is a really complicated sentence.
Doesn't end up feeding Audrey to Audrey 2.
Or doesn't end up feeding Audrey to
Audrey 2, yeah.
And there's the whole thing about the adoption that's not in the film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Seymour gets eaten by the plant in the stage show. Yeah, it does. They all do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a Greek tragedy because they all die. That's the Greek chorus and things. It's Faust, effectively.
Yeah.
But none of that in the film.
Yeah, which...
The theory behind it is, in a stage show, even though everyone dies, they all come out and bow at the end.
Yeah, so you know that they're all okay.
Yeah, and in a film...
I bet Americans...
Well, audiences in general, in a film, you really fall in love with those characters and you don't see them at the end. That was their kind of thinking behind it as to why they had to change the ending.
I mean, I get it. If you're wanting to create a family-friendly piece. Oh, microphone stand.
This piece is very family-friendly.
But I don't know. I like the whole tragedy ending because it's different. Every other show, everybody's happy. Yeah.
I wouldn't say Les Mis ends happily for anyone.
Yeah, but they all come out at the end and they all sing this song. You know what I mean?
But the film, they still die.
Yeah, that's true. They kept it. Could you imagine if they
Les Mis
changed
with a happy
that?
ending.
Yeah. They all come out and sing Walking on Sunshine at the end. I'm getting off track. No, I don't know. I feel like they both work because of
the media.
that they've used. I think not knowing, because when we watched the film, I didn't know that then there was an alternate version until you showed it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, that. Like, I get that. But then I feel like the stage version, it made more sense then with the fact that then there was a world domination of Audrey 2's. So it kind of makes sense a bit more, and I do prefer that ending, and I felt that was a bit stronger. And
also it ties in with the B-movie parody.
Exactly.
Thing, like the Godzilla...
Killer Tomatoes from Outer Space, Invasion of Body Snatchers, everything like that you can see that this is based on, it lends itself a lot more to that. Whereas, the film of, we're all happy now, we can live together and grow old together like you wanted. And the thing is, it's like in the stage show, she really did end up somewhere that's green, and she says that, and it's really cute, and it's really hard-hitting, and it's like, oh, Audrey, and like, I feel like it makes
Were you predicting that?
Yeah. I feel like it makes her a stronger character because she makes that sacrifice, whereas... Otherwise, it's very easy to think, oh God, she is just ditzy, you know? So I thought that she was a really strong character in the piece anyway.
Because in the when the Menier Chocolate Factory did it with Sheridan Smith, they made her a very, very ditzy blonde. She was to the level of she was walking into doors and things. And it didn't go down well with some people.
No. But
I remember you said after we saw this show, you really liked...
I liked the fact that she was a strong character and she could hold her own. And then at the end, it really is a testament to her character, the fact that she makes that sacrifice. And then it all ties in and there's that nice circularity. And I feel like you lose that with the film. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah. But, I mean, it works for the film. People still enjoy it. Yeah. Exactly. You're a fan of... the original piece and the film. You're not turning around and saying, oh,
what
don't
you
like
have
that
to do
film.
now...
I have to.
Watch the 1954 original film made in 2 days on a budget of about 4p. It's as bad as you think it is.
Yes, give that to me on a platter.
In the show, they even had a Corman reference. It was written on a box or something like that, which I really liked.
Wasn't that the order of the flowers
I think
was
so.
going to?
Yeah. Which is great. And I've never seen it, but it's one of Jack Nicholson's earliest appearances.
Brilliant.
I think he plays a dentist.
Love that.
I might be wrong, or he plays a patient or something like that. But yeah,
I really liked it.
every time I see this show, I am just so blown away as to how good Howard Ashman is. And I know I'm a broken record here, but it really does.
Take a shot every time Nick says he loves Howard Ashman.
But it really does show that he wrote this script, he directed the show, he came up with the idea of doing it, he did the lyrics, and every lyric in it is perfect. Still, there are rhymes in it that make me laugh and smile. It's just a joy to watch. That's why I said at the beginning, like, it could be the worst production of it in the world,
but it's good material.
And if you just read what's written, it's perfect.
And the thing is, I think it goes to show that an absolutely brilliant show doesn't need to cost the earth in production value when you have strong material to start with.
It helps if your microphones are working, though.
Oh, I felt really sorry for him.
The chap playing Mr. Mushnick, who is excellent, he has his big number, Mushnick and Son, and his...
I felt for him, I really did. But he did not let it deter.
Would he know that was happening?
Could do, might not. I guess it depends if he's getting any feedback.
Knew, could he just say stop?
No, he'd just carry on.
Show
They're professionals.
Yeah. But they fixed it for Act 2, which is good.
And it was fine. I really liked that whole bit as well, because that's not in the film, is it?
No, that whole sequence is gone from the film. For some reason, I don't know why.
But I really liked it because it strengthened that relationship between them.
And unlike certain shows we see, they actually did sell a cocktail in the interview.
Yes, they did. They did. It was a green
apple
sours based cocktail that looked like Audrey 2, and I loved it. And what I loved is the fact that it was advertised and I could actually get it, unlike the witches.
Yes. 8 months on, we're still talking.
I'm still going to talk about that cocktail because it looked amazing as well. And the fact that I couldn't get it, I was so upset. So upset.
There's a whole hour-long episode of Hannah talking about it if you want.
There is.
She even talks about the witches for a minute as well.
Hey, I talked about the costuming.
You did.
Which, again, in this show, amazing. Absolutely loved it.
Explain why.
Because...
Sorry, please explain why.
I was going to say... Explain.
You must explain.
You must do it. Because it worked...
Okay.
No, oh my gosh, let me finish. It worked because it was, in keeping with the piece, but also it was very casual. And I know it's a show where costuming, it's not like other shows that we've seen where costuming takes a real forefront, and you know that. Take Priscilla, for example. If you were to just perform Priscilla in jeans and a t-shirt, you're not going to get the same wow factor.
No.
Like, you go to Priscilla and you expect costumes, and the thing about this piece is the costumes worked because they were in keeping with the time of the piece, but yet they were just so casual. And yet I still think about like the swing dress and like the coat that Audrey wears. It's like, it's still memorable, but there's nothing that's overly flashy. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of costumes, I don't know how detailed you're looking at them, and it's an interesting question in regards to the piece as a whole. When is it set? Because
I would say 20s New York.
20s?
No.
Because the music to me says 50s.
Yeah.
But
yes, yeah.
The girls are called Crystal, Renette, and Chiffon.
It's 60s.
And they're 60s girl groups. So
ignore what I said about 20s. Yeah, I'd say for the costume and everything, it was 50s, like that kind of Depression era before.
Or maybe it's actually in the 60s, but everything is so behind in downtown and Skid Row that it's still stuck in the 50s. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. And that wouldn't surprise me because that seems like a genuine thing that would be that case. If you're on Skid Row...
A bit like Miss Piggy in Muppet Christmas Carol, isn't it? That her costumes are slightly delayed because she would have used hand-me-downs. There's a whole episode coming up about the costumes in Muppet Christmas Carol.
Is there?
Yeah, you're doing it. So best research it.
Okay, news to me. But okay, thank you for that.
You must do it.
Okay, I must. You must. But no, that's what I liked. Yeah, the costumes were very 50s, 60s, and it kind of was Depression era as well, I'd say. So yeah, I'd say that, like you say, with the character names as well being 60s, it could just be that that's what they were chosen to be because that's when they were writing it. I guess. Did they write it in the 60s?
Well, the film is a 50s film from
Yeah.
54, but they wrote it in the possibly late 70s, I think.
Okay. So I guess they were like just pop culture for the time.
I mean, Alan always said it's the dark side of Greece.
It is, yeah, I get that.
Which to me is Rocky Horror Show, but
Yeah.
now
It's all a bit thrown in.
I wonder if it's the same time as the Rocky Horror Show and if one was an influence on the other. Perhaps.
Yeah. I want to say film was 74.
So maybe this was influenced on
And then the show was earlier than that.
the Little Rocky Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, 72, I think, I want to say. Probably got people shouting at me, but I haven't thought about these dates in a long time.
But
I
in the
used to know.
70s, there was such a nostalgia for 50s anyway. It was in pop music. It was like Status Quo and stuff like that. It was in films like Grease, I think really brought that 50s.
Which is a film I've still never seen.
And Happy Days, you know, that there's a kind of nostalgia for it. Like now, there's a nostalgia for the 80s.
Is there?
There was with Stranger Things and things like that, and the
I've
It
not
film.
seen it. This is rubbish. I literally just sit here. I'm like, nah, not seen it.
Yeah,
Not seen
okay.
it.
And there's not much else you could really say about Little Shop of
I
Horrors.
loved it, and I genuinely think if it comes near you, please come and see it because it's just I say feel good. I loved as well the finale song. They all came out and did.
Mean Green Man from Outer Space.
Yeah,
Which is a thing now because...
I really liked it. I know that you probably think different.
No, I love it. And the until that song is in the show, I do think it does lack a big finale.
Yeah.
Like, Don't Feed Your Plants is fun, but what does it mean?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But it's not very... The best thing that the film gave us was that song. And when Vicky Vox did it at the Regent's Park, that was the first time I think they ever added it. And I could find out, and I might do, like, is it now part of the show, or do you have to pay extra to do it, or what's the deal?
Interesting.
Because I think they could easily slot it into the show.
I think it works as a finale piece, though.
Yeah.
Because if you're a film lover and then you're going to see it and you're like, oh, what? It wasn't in it. And then it comes at the end and it's like, bam!
I wished it were the full version, though.
Was it not?
No, it was like 1/3 of it.
Oh, well. Okay.
There's a whole rap section and things, and
Go on a bit, though, wouldn't it?
no, how dare you?
No.
It was nominated for an Oscar, that song.
Was it?
Yeah.
Things you learn on Musical Talk.
But yeah, so that was a great moment, and the we don't have a program study, but the person playing the plant, Audrey 2, was brilliant. The puppeteer, It Was a Warm Night, was also
Oh, my goodness.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Hiding
absolutely
in his
incredible.
little cocoon, doing whatever he has to do. The whole cast was astonishing.
And everyone played an instrument as well.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't play it throughout the piece, they came out at the end and then they played.
Something
Yeah. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I really liked it.
was a joy to behold. So if it is going to be near you, go and see it. We went to Windsor, Theatre Royal Windsor, lovely theatre.
Oh, it was really nice. It was a new venue experience for me.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that's a Shop of Horrors. I want to talk to you about Starlight Express. Starlight Express.
Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express,
That's it.
Starlight Express,
Family Guy
Starlight
reference.
Express. That's all I know about that show.
Excuse me.
And it has no trains in it,
Well,
from what you've told me.
We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, Starlight Express, the classic Richard Stilgo. Robert is his son, forgive me. Richard Stilgo and Angela River 1980s romp.
Oh, you said the 80s was coming back.
Yeah, is playing at the Troubadour Theatre in Wembley, where Newsies was. And this is the show made. Now, I'm not Andrew Lloyd Webber's most ardent fan,
Are you not? You've never really made that apparent.
but I don't mind this show because I think what Andrew does well is silly camp fun, and this show has that in spades. And I've wanted to see it for. I last saw it when it was at the theatre, the Apollo Victoria, many years ago when I was about 9, and I wasn't particularly impressed by it. Sat like this, not enjoying it.
What, because it was all in black and white?
No, I think I fell asleep during it.
That was me during Warhorse.
But now it's more like a kind of satirical piece of the 80s, and they know it's a bit naff, and I think they're playing
using
it
that to their
and using it
advantage.
to its strengths. Yes, the songs are a bit naff. It is like a sort of, the best way I can describe it was like watching a 2.5-hour Eurovision contest.
Jesus.
But by that I mean with the lasers and the smoke and the lights and the moving turntables and the platforms and the silly dancing and the just.
Was it impressive for the fact that it was all done on roller skates?
It was a bit health and safety ish.
Oh,
like
that's sad.
it was all a bit controlled and slow. Like there was nothing to the level of what if you see footage of
back in the day,
the original London production, when they're zooming around that theatre, but they have more room then.
Yeah,
this is all quite tight. And we had
but why do it in a venue that you know you're not going to have the space that
they do have the space,
Oh, okay.
but they don't have as much space as
previously,
as prior.
Okay.
And also, we were sitting quite near the front, and a lot of the skating happens behind you, so I couldn't really.
I bet they're still stinging a fortune for the tickets.
I can't remember. It was booked so long ago.
Yeah, you did. Actually, you booked this like a year ago. When they first announced it, you booked it. But even so, I bet that's the case. I bet there's still pricey tickets, and most of the action's going on behind you.
Not for the first time, but the good thing about the theatre is that everyone has a good view.
Was that a joke I was meant to get?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it doesn't really matter where you sit in that theatre. Okay. The stage is quite small, but it's about so much more than the stage. I got very excited because they do about 4 races in the show, and every time the races start, safety rails raise up.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Rise up, which I
appreciated. Rise up when you're living on your knees. You rise up.
Or Josh Groban. Raise me up.
I was thinking more Hamilton.
I know. And lights go mad, and there's lasers, and it's just silly fun. But I have nothing really to compare it to. But some people adore this show. You know, is
that because they're all die-hard Andrew Lloyd Webber fans or train enthusiasts?
Don't know.
I still think we would have been better off with the Thomas the Tank Engine musical. Just saying.
Which it nearly was.
I know. Why couldn't we have that instead? I love Mummies.
But you got this, so...
Not going to go and see it. Not for me. But then, I don't think I've ever seen one of his shows.
What I realised watching it is this is very similar to Cats.
Oh, gosh. You couldn't pay me to go and see that.
In the fact that it's a dance, a gimmick piece, and you've got to remember both were directed by Trevor Nunn. It's a gimmick piece where different characters of different classes and creeds and whatever come out and sing a song about what they are.
Okay.
And then a winner is chosen at the end. That's it.
Oh, God.
So it's like... Why it possibly reminded me of Eurovision, probably, because it's like it's a big competition. It's a competition, and
they're all in funny outfits and singing silly songs to lasers.
Yeah, and there's a country song, and there's a rap song, and there's a faux rock song. Much like in Cats.
See, the reason that I couldn't go and see the show is for one that you demonstrated to me. You know, when you played me some of the music from it, and you're like, oh yeah, there's this really clever bit, but it just gets repeated and repeated. I thought that was cute to start with, and then you showed it to me in every bloody song, and it would just annoy me too much. I'd walk out. Yep. Oh my gosh. No, get me out of there. No.
But I think there's something hypnotic about it, and there's something
sleep-inducing.
I think you ain't going to get to sleep during this show.
Wanna bet?
I think you'd like it for the zaniness and the campness and the theatricality, because you'll just sit listening to the music. Yeah, it's a bit naff and rubbish. Forgive me, it is. But in this show, they play on that, and it's just, I don't know, that there's something silly and fun about it, and that's what I liked about it.
I mean, I like the fact that they can have fun with it and poke fun at themselves. I do appreciate it when people do that. If you know that you've got something a bit shit, and you're like, okay, we know it, we're going to play with that. That's
I
fine.
don't think it's that. I think it's more, they know it's, I don't want to say naff, but they know it's a piece with a reputation.
Yeah.
And it's not shit because it's very popular. It's got
Is this an
fans.
age thing, do you think? Do you think I'm just blissfully unaware?
I don't know, because the show was around from like 1984 until about 2002. So in a way,
Yeah,
you just about missed it, I think.
I was 5 when they ended.
So that's about the target audience for that show, because it is a kids' show.
Yeah, but living in the depths of darkest Devon.
But you've got to put that aside. So you asked if it were an age thing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, fine, age and location, living, even at 5, I'm not going to be aware.
No. Well, I was with Andrew Keating today and we were chatting about it. He said the last thing he saw, which is what my friend also said with whom I went, was the weird 3D version.
Huh?
So there was a tour,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
a Bill Kenwright tour, which says all you need to know. When every time they went to do a race, which is originally when they would
Yeah, go
roll a rink around the audience, a screen would come down,
Oh, dear.
and you were told to put your 3D glasses on. And
How to take you out of the moment 101.
Yeah. So I think the excitement for this show is having it back.
How long's it staying for? Is it on a limited run?
It's until
It doesn't make money anymore. Okay.
it.
Do you think that being out of sort of central London has an impact?
They say we're just 2 stops away from Baker Street Station, so it's not really out of central London. It's northwest London.
I get confused. I'm not very
Yeah.
good with what's where. I'm a newbie here.
I think people are travelling to see it.
Okay.
It might just be a summer flash in the pan. We'll see, but it's got its fans. And it's the first time it's been back to this scale in a very long time. And they've reworked it and they've done some gender swapping and things, which is very good. But pointless, but fine. It's a ridiculous story. I mean, it's Cinderella, apparently.
What?
And we've all seen how well Lloyd Webber does that in the first place. So,
Oh, yeah, that lasted like 2 minutes.
So
I never went to see that. Was that any good?
no.
Okay, that'll be why then. All right.
I will say I didn't leave Starlight Express annoyed, and I have left.
I was expecting you to come home, especially because you just got a flight back. You'd literally just landed back in the country, and then you went to go and see it.
It might be why I've been ill for 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I was fully expecting you to come home very groggy, especially because you just, rather than coming home, you went to a Lloyd Webber show. You at a Lloyd Webber show. And I would have expected you to come out of that annoyed anyway. But the fact that you just had a full day of travelling, got back, then went to go and see the show, and then came back, and you were in a weirdly okay mood. I was like, you all right?
One of the songs in the show is on my playlist for running.
No.
Yep.
Who's turned Nick Hudson?
Because I love gospel. And
okay.
there's
It's a gospel
sort
number.
of gospel-y song in it called Light at the End of the Tunnel, which is quite fun, and it's the one everyone likes.
Is the Kylie Minogue version of Locomotion in it?
No.
Not for me.
Okay.
But that's at the end of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, so I'd rather just go and rewatch that.
Go and see that before one of us dies.
It's a banger. I had it on video.
We'll leave it for that episode. But next week we're going to be talking about different
Different tastes. No, we are exploring everything.
Yes.
at the moment. And I like that.
We're going to be talking about Hello Dolly, which had a real train in it. Well, not a real train, but it had more trains in it than Starlight Express did.
Hey, Starlight, you showed me the thing of that tiny little one that went round. I thought that was very
True,
sweet. I wish the whole
that
show
was
was...
in the interval. Doesn't really count.
I would have just sat and watched that train go around for 2 hours.
Yeah. Might be more interesting. Who knows?
Join us next time when we discuss Hello Dolly.
Fair, that's what the musical is, really.
Trains going around.
Yes. Hello Dolly next week. Thank you very, very much for joining us this week. And we'll speak to you then. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Musical Talk. To find out more about the world of musical talk, you can visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk, where you'll find all our episodes, or you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Musical Talk.